So, wow, I was not expecting this one at all today. A very unexpected response that we're going to be going over here in just a moment. Plus, yes, the Outriders team, they're working overtime right now, even through the holidays, to make sure that the servers are stable. They're trying their best, of course. And then we're going to be talking about the notorious inventory disappearing bug. It has returned, but how severe is it? Plus, we're going to be talking about some new tips about status effects and much more. So you know what? Let's dive straight in. Hey everyone, what's happening? Open World Games here. Hope you're doing good, and let's do this. So yes, the Outriders team, it's pretty amazing. They're working even through the holidays to make sure that this game is running smoothly. They say, happy Sunday, everyone. We are here. We are watching the servers, not you. That would be creepy. So I love their humor, by the way, in their posts. I hope they never change. They have some hilarious replies to the community. And despite the server issues and problems, the community has been holding on together for sure. Also, there's some additional updates in that bug tracking thread. I'm going to throw that in the description below. This one is for the Onslaught quest if you're having problems with that. But that thread is constantly updated. I highly recommend bookmarking it and seeing if your problem or issue is in that thread, because I usually have a workaround for you. Now, this was totally unexpected. We've had server issues, online stability issues. I've experienced them. You probably have. But this comes from Motion Man TV, and it has 3.2k upvotes. One of the most talked about threads here on the Outrider subreddit. He says this: I'm sorry that what should have been one of the greatest moments of your careers, the culmination of 5 years of hard work, is being overshadowed by the Square Enix ID authentication issues. I'm sorry that you all who should have been celebrating the incredible achievement that is Outriders are instead dealing with the brunt of all the fan outrage from being unable to play. But I want to make sure that even though it's rough right now, you all know that what you all have created is truly wonderful. The amount of detail you have put into building the world through all of the incredible artwork and design work on characters, environments, and different biomes, as well as the thousands of paragraphs of lore journals and the codex bleeds off the screen and keeps me consistently sucked into the world of Enoch. I had to force myself to go to bed after playing until 3 a.m. last night. I love this post. It goes on to say this: the insane amount of effort put into designing the classes and giving the player so much agency in crafting their own personal Outrider with thousands of different mods, skills, talent combinations is extremely fun, and is going to be the driving force behind the millions of hours players will spend in the in-game. This is one of the most rewarding loot experiences I have played in the video game. Bravo. Furthermore, he says this: there are so many more reasons why the last 5 years of your lives' work have paid off big time in this release, but I don't want this post to be too long to read. Just know that the majority of players understand that these Square Enix authentication issues will be resolved soon, and we will be able to bask in the glory of the world and experience what you all have crafted. Thank you for all of your hard work, all of that overtime, all that crunch, all the stress, and everything else you all went through to get this game out the door. I hope once it's all resolved, you get a pizza party or something and can sit back and read all of the posts about the awesome loot people found or their cool moments and builds, etc., instead of these server complaints. Yeah, and he puts a little heart icon there as well. And you know, a lot of the community is feeling the same way as this post. And it shows that this community is willing to be patient overall, and that there is a strong core. And this is something I love to see. We have a developer that is super passionate about the game, and a publisher, it seems, that's also very passionate about the game. But, you know, the community is really thriving right now despite server issues and server woes. But, you know, my opinion once again stands that, you know, if they're going to have server issues at launch with some of these games, they need a temporary offline mode, even if it's temporary. Of course, I would like a permanent offline mode, but something to alleviate the stress on the servers and to allow players to continue their journey while servers are being worked on. That's something that I would really love to see adopted into games like this. But overall, yes, that response was totally unexpected, to be honest, and to see the community once again getting together in this manner is just so refreshing, and I just freaking love it. So let's keep going, shall we? Now, a lot of you guys want more content, you know, once you start getting through the expeditions and things like that. As proven right here, People Can Fly, please make more content for this game. Keep it alive forever. So a lot of you guys want the journey to continue, and a big comparison is Monster Hunter World meets Division meets Destiny meets MMO elements and amazing combat. You know, I honestly think they should just go after the Monster Hunter type post-launch support for this game, to be blunt. I think that would be very, very cool. So let's continue on here. This inventory bug seems to be rearing its ugly head once again. Has 111 upvotes, but it's not like it's the most talked about thread at all out on the subreddit, which means it's most likely pretty rare still, but it sucks to see that is happening to some players out there that are trying to enjoy the game. So yeah, even if you do get that bug, again, don't panic. No reason to panic because yeah, there's likely going to be fixes for that in the future. And yeah, they have that restore system in place as well. Now, this is really absolutely fantastic news right here. Outriders and It Takes Two are team's top sellers right now, proving that this game is going strong, despite the issues, of course. Now, we're going to also talk about some tips and tricks I wanted to go over with you guys, because I feel like there's some things in the game that are just not explained whatsoever. And one thing in particular are the status effects. So if you're going through the game, you might pick up an Ash weapon or something like that. This comes from the gamer. It's laid out really nicely. It says, of course, status effects are powerful debuffs that can inflict deadly damage over time. But we're going to go over some crowd control status effects. Ash is one of the most noteworthy ones that you may not know exactly what it does. It says, encases an enemy in Ash, preventing them from moving or attacking for 2.5 seconds. We know what freeze does, of course, and that prevents them moving or attacking for 3.5 seconds. And then you have slow as well. Those are going to be your crowd control status effects as well. Now, one of my favorite status effects, by the way, is definitely bleed right here. And it targets equal to 2.5% of your ability power every 0.5 seconds, lasting for 5 seconds. Then you have burn and toxic. But then you have debuffs, and these are going to be super important, especially when you enter the end game. You have vulnerable and weaknesses. Enemies take 25% increased damage for 10 seconds. This is one of my favorites, vulnerable. Weakness, enemies deal 30% less damage for 6 seconds. This is going to be extremely important for facing off against, you know, higher tier characters as well. So you have to remember you know, to really make note of these status effects. Let me know. I know some of you probably have your favorite status effects. Sound off which one you like the most and which one you find to be the most impressive. Okay, let's continue onward, shall we? Alrighty then, check this out right here. Now, this is a thread that says, haven't really seen anyone talk about this yet, but the game does AI, extremely well. I have to agree on this one, big time. He says this is the first game in a very long time where the AI has provided a challenge. They flank consistently, buddy up, take cover regularly, and this comes from Dark Noodle 420, by the way. This is some of the best AI I've seen in a looter shooter in a very long time, and People Can Fly deserve praise for it. Absolutely. You know, I think praise should be given where it is deserved for sure. Now, it seems like a lot of you guys didn't realize this, as indicated by the subreddit. This was pointed out by 500 Rad. It says, this took me a while, but it then clicked. The bullets represent the fire mode, single, burst, and full. And you can see how he's highlighted right here. You can see this is going to be your full auto, of course, single shot, and then your burst weapon right there. So if you see like 2 bullets, that means you're going to be getting a burst weapon and so on and so forth. So that's also pretty noteworthy in my opinion. And you can take a look at like a weapon from a glance and say, you know what, I don't like this weapon just because it's a burst weapon. I myself really like to spray and pray. That's my thing. I like to go in there and either use a light machine gun or shotgun and get busy. Hell yes. Alright, so the need for a transmog system is apparent, as a lot of you guys are talking about that once again. So hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers, we get some news once the servers stabilize and once we get through you know, of course, stability issues, and they update the game further. Now, another tip for you all, this is a good one, and it's super important, especially once again, you get into the end game and you're collecting legendaries with a certain class and you really want to build up your other classes. Here's a hot tip. This comes from Breakfast Crusade, who says, if you finish the game on one class and are starting another, I realized today that you can dump a bunch of gear into the stash on your high-level character and then retrieve them on your alt so that you can have access to the higher tier mods or any specific, mod you want. This even works for mods that have been replaced, so you can just go get a bunch of junk gear and throw all your best or favorite mods on them and then scrap them on your alt character for a huge starting boost. There you have, that's an excellent tip right there, and something super important to remember as you go through the game. Now, one thing that I love about this game is the difficulty settings with the world tier. That's something that is noted right here by Ether. I don't even know how to say that. The difficulty might be the best thing about this game. I really try to give credit to people, but some of the names. He says, the way the difficulty is balanced is beyond exceptional. They've managed to appeal to the power fantasy, making you really feel like a superhuman machine of destruction while also making sure you never let your guard down. Every encounter feels challenging but doable. I wanted to mention that if it's really challenging, like too challenging, you can either lower your world tier or upgrade. So I feel like they provided so many options in that regard. Now, he goes on to say the following. He says, the challenge encourages you to really engage with your equipment, the crafting, and the hunts and bounties. It rewards players for thinking out of their builds and adapting their builds to the situation, letting you keep loot drops after dying and lowering the world tier slightly after every death. Make sure you can beat any challenge at the peak of your skill and capabilities. Most importantly, it manages to keep up this level of difficulty without sacrificing a genuine sense of character progression and without becoming a bullet sponge hell. I have never played an RPG looter that manages what people can fly have with Outriders in regards to keeping things challenging and engaging. Huge props to the devs who designed this system. Challenging gameplay will always keep me coming back for more and more. Hell, yes, I think this game needs to be studied. When it comes to difficulty, I think this is one that's going to have to be studied by other developers and teams out there. Now, furthermore, let's check out your top comments. Remember to leave a comment down below. It could end up in a future video. So, let's do this. All right. This was the recent video I did. It says Outriders devs give all new update about multiplayer, pausing the game, and level cap changes. Also, yeah, you can pause the game if you're on PC and you're using Ansel. So, yeah, check out this video if you want to know more. Silky says this, they should use the Avengers server since nobody is using them. Smiley face. The sarcasm right there. X says this is the first game in about 3 years that have made me game again. Hell yes. Shadow Weaver says, I am glad they're being transparent and listening to their player base and not going quiet because of some people being rude. Yeah, you know, I've seen that so many times where the dev team just shuts down. I think that's when the problems with the game are so much that there's not really much good to say about the game. That is not true with Outriders. There are so many good elements to this game. The core game is excellent. The gameplay, you know, the world, the lore. There's so many good things to talk about with this game and enjoy. And I think that's one of the reasons why this dev team is still managing to stay strong despite the issue. So their only issue, in my opinion, and there are some other issues, of course, with the game, but the biggest issue is those servers. Now, GTR Sniper says this, as an adult and a parent, I find the pause feature so helpful when you need it. I hope an offline mode comes soon. I mostly play solo anyway. I hear ya. I'm going to keep mentioning it. I am going to be mentioning an offline mode for sure for you all. Truth Banana says, me, fights hard boss and beats him. Game, how about we F with you, servers go down. Me, has to fight the hard boss again. That happened to me recently. And let me tell you what, it's not fun. I did have a disconnect during a really crucial point last night in my last night stream. By the way, check out my streams in the description below. I hope you guys join up. It would be a blast to have you all drop by and say hello. We have a blast streaming for sure. So be sure to check out my streams and also join the Discord. Follow the top comment or the description. But yeah. I hear you. I had that disconnect issue in my streams, and I had to end up, of course, ending the stream because I was having so many various issues happening, and I was like, you know what? Tonight is just not my night. We're gonna call it quits here. But yeah, anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Outriders news and updates. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And thank you for all the love and support on the recent videos, of course. But yeah, I got you covered when it comes to Outriders news and updates. And I will see you all next time. Take care.